One last thing. Oh, let me kill this. This is Jeff Indyke here. I'm going to give you guys one more little instructional segment before I call it a day. I've been doing a lot of this. Hold on, let me kill this all this noise here. Wait a second. All right, there we go. Yeah, I'm at the end of my workout here, so what do I want to do? All right. Jeff Indyke here, my last segment of the day. I want to suggest to you guys, right, that, you know, I mean, as drummers, but even as any musician, get a good book on, you know, basic music theory, but more important, musical terms. Let me tell you why. When you're playing drums, I mean, when you're playing any instrument for that matter, you're going to run into a lot of sayings, right, that I think were written in either Italian or Latin. I'm not really sure. For example, fortissimo means loud. F, loud. FF, triple loud. FFF, F, loud. F, double loud. FFF, triple loud. P, pianissimo. PP, very pianissimo. PPPP. But what I'm saying about it is, I don't know if there's a PPPP, but I know there's a PPP. Then you have these things called crescendos, and they look like this triangle that goes like this and this, and that's about an interpretation which means to slowly get louder. Then they have a diminuendo, I think that's what they call that, where you gradually get less loud. In knowing your musical terms, staccato, which basically means very sharp. Usually staccato relates more to string instrument. Pizzicato, I think that has something to do with the strings, but staccato, right, it's like very short, sharp playing. Sometimes in drumming they use that as like an interpretation to play it really, really sharp. Staccato. Stuart Copeland, he plays staccato. Weckl plays very staccato. Now legato, that's actually just the opposite. That's like sort of slurred, kind of behind the beat, lazy. Kind of around like the way Gadd played, right? A lot of his those fills that he did. You know, the way he kind of like, he was behind the beat, not dragging, but like a little behind. That's the way that I like to play. I'm not a technical player, so I tend to get a little bit kind of more behind. And there are many other ones. But the reason why is you may be, you know, working for a producer that might have like a reference chart. And, you know, it might have interpretive suggestions there where it might say, you know, those particular things that I had just mentioned. And if you don't know your terms, right, you're not going to look very professional. So it's a good thing, you know. Now, as far as the music theory is concerned, you know, when I was in high school, I took music theory. Now, I didn't really, the reason that it really came in handy was Mr. Hutchinson was my theory teacher. He was a good teacher. And when I studied with him, well, first off, right, by learning music theory, I learned to write about the scales, the chords, the intervals, a little bit about the notes. I didn't become like an amazing note reader that way until college later, but by having that information, I was able to play keyboards pretty well. From a very early start, I always was, you know, toying around with the keyboard. Without the music theory, I never would have known how to construct the chords, because in music theory, you know, you learn your scale. I'll just give you a hypothetical example. If you know your A major scale, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, you know, or your D major scale, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. I can still see them in my head because I had to learn all that stuff when I got my associates. I had to rattle off the scales, so I know them all by heart. I can actually tell you, if you came up to me on the street and said, you know, say a B major or a B minor scale, I could say that pretty easily. But the reason why it came in handy is once I knew my scales, getting a little out of breath here, it's very easy to be able to construct chords. So in other words, if you know your major scale, a major, like a major arpeggio, if you know your A major scale, it's the 1, 3, and the 5, and then the 1, and then the root again, the octave. So it's like A, C sharp, E, and then A. Or if it was an A minor chord, now you have to know your minor scale, A, C, E, and then A. At A minor 7, A, C, E, G, etc., etc. What I'm saying is by knowing about all these different chords, you know, from that experience, and I didn't have to like take lessons or anything, I just learned it in college. And you could pick up anything online. There are books. You can find 1,000 books on basic music theory. If you go over to Sam Ash, talk to Jen. She'll tell you all about what music theory books are good to get that information in your head. So this way you have that information. It's like you have the automatic tool to be able to use that stuff. So it became really paramountly important to when I started to study the keyboards. And when I got to, when I got to the mallets, which I never became a master mallet player. After I heard Gary Burton, I knew that I would never be a virtuoso on that instrument. But, I still play around with little orchestra bells, sometimes vibraphone, marimba. I could still like to play them. But if I hadn't had that music theory training, I never would have been able to guide my way around the notes, because if you don't know your notes, you can't guess. Well, there are guys that play by ear, but it's a lot better if you know know where you're going and what you're doing. So that's basically it. Get a little music theory in your life, and it'll make it a lot easier. When I'm working with other musicians, if some guy uses a term that, when I'm talking to anybody, somebody uses a word that I don't know. I'll usually stop him and say, "Hey, what's that word? What's that mean?" It's kind of cool. Don't feel about like you're not smart, because nobody knows everything, except maybe God. I don't think He knows everything. But anyway, get a good music theory book, kind of go through it, get a little education on the keyboards. Now, it depends on what instrument you play. And then, of course, whatever instrument you play, there are other terms that have to do with different instruments. I think like on piano, you have like different terminology for some of the notes. And then, of course, on strings, you have different ways of playing. And interpretive things that I don't know about because I never read violin music. But I will tell you this much, from having a little experience in listening to violin players. When I did my jury, I think it was my last mallet jury. It was the last one I ever did. I think I put the mallets down after that thing. I did, it was a violin concerto. I forgot who wrote it. Might have been Beethoven. It went like this. Bum 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 bum. That's all I remember. Bum 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 da 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 da. And now I had to play this on the marimba. Oh man, it was a three-page jury. What a nightmare. I mastered it. I have it on tape somewhere. I wish I would have got it on film. I really butchered the heck out of that thing. I did not have that thing. I did what I could. But if I hadn't had my musical theory and my keyboard training, I never would have been able to touch that. I was able to touch it. I didn't get a cigar or an Academy Award for it, but I was able to do it. So there you have it. Peace.